Welcome to Recently Logged, where if you say it loud, there will be in fact music playing right now.
You know, Micah, if you say it's soft, it's almost
like praying.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Robbie.
Recently logged, I'll never stop saying.
Oh my god. And the other voice that you hear is Micah.
Yes.
And together we make Recently Logged.
The collective, the construct known as.
Not only do we create Recently Logged, but we also
produce.
We produce Recently Logged.
We
are members of Recently Logged.
We're the founders of Recently
The
Logged.
founding fathers. Well, here we are today. We're talking about a new movie.
West Side Story?
A West Side Story.
I thought that came out in the 60s.
That came out in the 60s, you idiot.
That's not new.
Get new material. No, this is the Steven Spielberg one.
Wow.
The man, Micah.
Yeah.
If you can even believe it, that guy's still making movies.
Yeah.
And they're still great.
They're still, how old is he? Like,
I don't know.
100? I don't know.
I don't know. I think he's in like his mid-80s.
He's been making like outstanding projects since the 70s. So.
Right? Like, Duel was his like feature-length debut, and supposedly that's great. I haven't watched it yet. But.
Well, that Columbo episode was one of his first projects he ever worked on.
Yeah.
And it was like a really good episode.
Yeah, the man, he's quite good. But yes, we're talking about West Side Story. I guess strap in for the basic facts, so you know what the movie is.
So you know what the movie is.
Exactly.
It's fine. So today we are talking about, as you have just heard, West Side Story.
We just said it like 16
Released
times.
in 2021.
Yes.
It is rated PG-13. It is 2 hours and 36 minutes.
Ooh.
Its little IMDb description is an adaptation of the 1957 musical West Side Story, explores forbidden love and the rivalry between the Jets and the Sharks, two teen street gangs of different ethnic backgrounds.
What? That's what the movie's about.
To explain for people who don't get it, West Side Story was written as a stage musical in 1957. It was adapted into a screenplay in the 1960s.
Yes. I was about to say, the original movie adaptation was released in 1961. This is an adaptation of the stage play, not that movie.
The Oscars have not happened yet, but it's been nominated for Best Performance by Actress in Supporting Role, Best Motion Picture, Best Achievement in Production Design, Best Sound,
Heck yeah.
Best Achievement in Costume Design, Best Cinematography, and Best Direction.
It's weird. I haven't seen too many of the Oscar nominees this year, but I am kind of pulling for West Side Story to like at least get 3 or so, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it deserves it.
Yeah.
Its cast features Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, nice.
Ariana... See, I don't know how to say her last name.
DeBosi?
I don't know if you pronounce it like that because there's no accents on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it.
Ariana DeBosi, maybe. David... Alvarez, maybe.
You just gotta go for it.
Rita Marino, probably.
Yeah.
Officer Krupke.
Officer Krupke. What's he doing this side of the
Ryan
cast?
Darcy James. There's who I was looking for.
Yeah.
These two. Mike Fast-Faced. I don't know how to say his last name either. Josh Andres Rivera, probably.
Yeah.
And also Antelope.
He rocks in this. Everyone rocks in this, though.
Unfortunately, Antelope.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Directed by Steven Spielberg.
Heck yeah.
Written by Tony Kushner and based on a screenplay by Arthur Lawrence, I guess.
Lawrence.
It's a weird way to spell Lawrence.
Like, it's like, I don't know what this is about.
But yes, that is the basic facts of West Side
Now
Story.
you are an informed citizen.
You guys are informed. You now know what we're talking about.
And now we can get on with it.
Yeah.
We can do it.
We can talk about it. Did somebody say one of my favorite movies to come out in a long time?
In a long, long time. Did somebody say my favorite Broadway musical? Apparently someone said both of those things because those are true.
I don't know about that one prior, Robbie.
No, it's true for me. I'm not saying it's true for you.
It's true for me, but not for you.
But not for you. No.
Dang it.
Working in a West Side Story reference.
I just watched this yesterday, and like I've been doing like nothing but like listening to the music and thinking about the movie because like I've just been I don't know, man. This movie really is probably one of my favorite movies at this point.
It's so good. It's so good.
I have not seen the 60s one.
You need to watch it,
but
dude.
I don't really want
It's
to.
It's quite good. It's quite good.
It's quite good, actually.
Dude, you have to watch this movie. It's quite good.
No, I don't know. Sorry, Sondheim, I guess, but I don't like a lot of the arrangements of the songs in the 60s one. And I don't really like...
They sound so similar. That's the thing with all the West Side Story versions, even the stage version, all of the arrangements are very similar.
But like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's the vocalists or something. Like, even now, like, even after listening to this, because I used to just say, like, oh, I don't like West Side Story music. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But this movie, I was like, yeah, and I kind of got into a lot of the songs. But even now, listening back to the 60s, like, music, I'm like...
Wow.
And I don't really like the cat.
I mean, I could see that. The guy they have for Tony in the old one is great, though.
Yeah.
I will say.
But yeah, I just wanted to add that as a tidbit going in.
Yes.
I have not seen any other version.
I have not seen the stage version, but I have watched the 60s one multiple times and love it. It's one of my favorite musical movies, as is this. So.
Whoa, that's crazy.
If you can even believe my favorite Broadway musical, both of its movie adaptations, I love. So.
Yeah, do we wanna just hop in? I forget if we ever say our ratings. Like, when do we say our ratings of the movie?
I mean, we can say them at the end if you want, but like, I mean, I don't really care.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say I rated it 5 stars. Like, every time I've seen it.
Yeah, I gave it a 4.5. So I mean, it's almost there. I gave the old one a 4.5 too. I think they both have
almost there.
I think they both have their problems.
They have their problems.
But yeah,
sure they do.
Oh my god.
I think we're gonna have our problem.
Wow. But yeah. So there's only a half-star difference. Our opinions don't really differ that much. But yeah.
The half-star means the world to me.
West Side Story, Micah. It's pretty good. I dare say. I guess just ease us in with a fun little question. What's your favorite musical number in this? If you had to pick one.
Oh, that's so hard.
Okay, you could do like a couple favorites, like just highlights.
Because the reason this is hard for me, I think, is that I think a lot of it, like, it isn't just like, this is my favorite song to listen to, or this is one of my favorite, like, musical numbers in the movie. I feel like there's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, no, that's why I said musical number, because, like, the filmmaking has a lot to do with how I perceive the songs in this version, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, as it should. It's a movie musical, so...
Yeah. Jeez. I mean, honestly... like, even just having watched it last night, I think my overall favorite doing everything, like, visually, filmmaking, and, like, choreography and everything wise is actually Officer Krupke. Krupke.
That's a good one.
Which is weird, because it's definitely, I wouldn't call it, like, my favorite overall, and it's a really goofy song.
Yeah.
But, like, I really love everything they're doing with it in the movie, from, like, the staging and the blocking and the choreography and the arrangement of the song, because I find the 60s version of the song so annoying.
The 60s version does actually differ a lot, which I did not expect, but yeah.
And,
no, that's definitely a solid pick.
Wow, Tonight Quintet is...
Tonight Quintet.
Tonight Quintet is really, really good.
Obviously.
Cool is really, really good.
Obviously.
America is really, really good.
Obviously.
The balcony scene is really, really good. Maria is really, really good.
Yeah, I was about to say, you kind of just listed like all of my, not only my favorite songs, but my favorite numbers in this. And I think I would probably either go with Maria or Cool.
Maria,
one of those two, I think, would probably be my favorite.
Cool is another really, really cool one to see staged out. I love the choreography for like the dance fight that they have in
How did
Cool.
who storyboarded that? what were they thinking?
Dude, when the drums kick in and the one instrumental part, it's like
what?
The gun comes center frame.
How did they? What? How do you even make a movie like that?
Robbie's like, oh, 4.5. It's got its problems.
No, I think Cool is like honestly one of the best examples of the blocking and staging and stuff in this, because I mean that's like one of the highlights of this movie. I think it's well shot. It's incredibly well shot.
I watched this with my girlfriend Haley yesterday. She hadn't seen it before. She had never really interacted with anything West Side Story before.
Yeah.
And she laughed when, at the end of Cool, when Riff is like, stay cool, and then does like the da-da-da-da.
Exactly.
And does like the really intense ballet move when nobody else is doing anything.
That's really good. Micah, if you removed the music from West Side Story, it would be so funny, like during the dance numbers and everything.
Right, like Cool is so funny with its choreography,
right?
Because like it's an aggressively like dance fight.
I was about to say one aspect that I really loved about the '60s one that's a little lost here is the like dance fight stuff. Like it's not nearly as dancey as the old one is, which I mean,
it's still dancey.
It's a different style.
It's just not very like grand ballet.
Exactly. I was about to say.
But the '60s version, from what I've seen of it, is a lot more stage feeling.
It is. No, it feels like a stage play. This feels like a movie.
Yeah, and there are still elements of dance fighting in here. Several people get kicked while dancing.
Yeah.
Cool literally is a whole dance
fight. It's
literally
a dance fight.
But no, you definitely don't have that kind of like always ballet.
Have you seen
dance fighting?
Have you seen the opening number from the old one?
I think I have.
It's like incredibly grandiose ballet while they're fighting each other.
Yeah, and you don't have that kind of thing here because, like you said, this is much more like a movie.
No, yeah, this. I mean, think about like if you've seen the movie. Think about the opening shot of this movie.
It's so
very
so nice, but it's like for those of you who haven't, it's like an extremely long crane shot,
a ridiculous crane shot, like a dumb crane shot.
Spielberg was like, "Wait, what
if we made the greatest opening shot of all time?" And that was the
dude,
the movie.
And the whistling comes in.
Yeah,
the music picks up.
No, this movie is so good.
Oh. How did you not give this 5 stars, Robbie?
No, it's I mean I can tell you why if you want me to.
Oh, really?
I literally I think I only have like one problem with it.
What's the problem?
The central romance has not clicked for me anytime I've watched it, and that's so integral to the like core of this movie.
That sucks.
I know, I want it to because it
really works for me.
I love the romance in the old one. I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. I love it, and then like this new one, it just doesn't. The ending doesn't hit as hard as I want it to.
Yeah, and it's interesting
for me anyway.
For me, because I was I was watching this with Haley, and she's pretty weird with stuff like this in terms of like movie plots.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, this is happening really fast. This is really weird." I was like, "The movie does take place in 2 days,
right?"
And she was like, "Yeah, but this is weird, right?" And I was like, "Not really for like what it's going for,
no,
because like." In my opinion, it really connects to something like Romeo and Juliet, like it's going for, and that kind of old stage play in which love and all of the relationships are used more for ideas and ideals in a short amount of time than an actual like story. So I felt like it definitely connected to all of like the ideas and the emotions and the themes that it wanted to. Even if the romance, like it happens extremely fast.
No, and see, I don't mind. Like I actually like the first time they meet, that sort of thing, like at the dance and everything. I'm like, I love that. It's really the stuff towards the end of the movie that doesn't click with me quite as much. It's not the entire, like, romance plot.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, like, and that's the thing. Like, that's the only thing that's, like, holding me back from, like, absolutely adoring this one.
Because as much as I don't like Ansel Elgort as a person, like,
no,
the
yeah.
two of them give outstanding
they're both.
performances.
That's the thing. They're both great in this. I don't know what it is. It's maybe it's just a me problem.
Yeah, I don't know. That's really weird because I think even Haley by the end like really got emotionally connected to the character.
And see, that's the thing. I haven't. But like I said, that's probably just on me.
And I had like a petty streak going, like literally for no reason except just to say it, of saying that I had never cried at a movie. And last night, I guess it was more last yesterday afternoon, when we watched it, I cried at the end, just like, and not even like, it wasn't even like a big thing. I just like, I mean, I almost cry at like 90% of sad movies I watch. I usually have to like stop myself from crying just to keep the petty streak alive.
Wow.
But I guess I didn't mentally prepare myself because I was watching it with Haley, and then I was like, no.
You can't mentally prepare for West Side Story, Micah.
I was like, oh, Tony, Maria, Chino.
I love Chino. Shout out to Chino. We rehearsed that, Micah.
Chino's a cool lad.
Right? I love the guy who plays Chino in this.
No, he's really fun.
Great.
The cast for this is so much fun.
Right?
And besides Ansel Elgort, I feel like I haven't really seen any of them do anything else either.
Yeah.
Like, Riff, Maria,
oh my gosh,
and Chino.
The guy
like
who plays Riff in this is so
the
good.
three of them, and even Bernardo.
Yeah.
And, why did I just lose her name? Bernardo's
who are you
girlfriend.
thinking of? Oh, crap.
Anita.
Yeah, Anita. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is it?
like all of them have not really been in much.
Yeah.
And they all give outstanding performances. Like, I love them as a cast so much.
Goodness. Yeah, no, obviously Spielberg's a great director, so
yeah, I mean,
if an actor or actress is worth their salt, I think they're gonna give a good performance under him.
I think Spielberg's biggest talent, quite frankly, beyond all of his skill as in filmmaking, I think honestly his biggest talent is the fact that he works with people so well.
He's a good director.
A fantastic director.
He is good at directing actors and crew.
He pulls out good directors. Good actors out of like nothing. He's like the only director to ever consistently find like every good child actor.
Right.
He's insane.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason he's one of my favorite directors ever. He's so good at what he does.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's one of the most influential directors of the modern era. He invented blockbuster.
Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on like Jaws and Minority Report. That's cinema right there, Mike. I mean, so is this. Obviously, I think this is like top tier Spielberg. Great stuff.
Yeah, so what did you think of I guess essentially like the production design, lighting direction, like all of the visuals,
the look of the movie.
The look.
I like it a lot. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen the stage version, so I don't know how they like do it on that. But I imagine it's kind of similar to the '60s one.
It's similar to the '60s one.
And I will say this one's a little less colorful and like I don't want to say less saturated. It's less vibrant than the old one is. But that's mostly by design, I think. Yeah, and I think it fits the aesthetic of this one a lot.
You say that, and this movie is like 90% more colorful than any other movie come out in like 10 years.
No, I was about to say the '60s one is like a ridiculous standard if you're judging movies on how vibrant they are.
If I'm not mistaken, like the '60s one does that thing kind of similar to like a Red Shoes kind of look, where it's just like punching you in the face with color.
I don't think there's like a handful of shots in the '60s version that aren't filled to the brim like with colored lights,
which is
and
interesting because again that was the '60s, so that's like close to when color just started.
No,
Red Shoes.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah,
you need to watch it
again. Like the Red Shoes. Shout out to the Red Shoes. One of the first. Wasn't it like the first movie with that kind of color technology?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
and they just like,
They were like, we're gonna use color,
oh
my
my
man.
gosh, color in that movie.
Yeah, but I think, that being said, this one still uses its, when it does use color, it looks fantastic. I think it works really well for the general difference in tone. This one feels a lot less, I don't want to say less whimsical, but it feels...
It's more grounded.
Yeah, it feels more grounded than the old one.
Like more like
Visceral.
violent feeling,
Yeah.
and visceral.
Yeah.
And,
Less dreamy than the 60s one.
Yeah.
So...
which is interesting because it feels a lot more grungy and grounded to everything, but at the same time it's doing a lot of like background things that kind of play a lot, in my opinion, to the kind of almost fairy tale-esque story you could say to it.
Yeah, no, I would say that.
By fairy tale, I mean like fable-esque.
Yeah.
Because I don't, like, not Shakespearean in a way, even though it is that kind of thing, but I don't have a good word to describe, like, that kind of story other than fairy tale or fable. Because, like, as much as it's very grounded, like so many times during like dance numbers and stuff, and so many times even with just camera work, it does stuff that feels so fantastical.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like, even though the production design and lighting isn't quite as whimsical as the old one, its camera work and blocking are a lot more electric than the old one is.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely makes up for it. It doesn't lose any of its visual interest because it's ramping up other aspects of itself.
Dude, at the dance, when the lights start going crazy, I'm like, is this a J.J. Abrams movie?
Get some lens flares
There's
in
like
here.
30 lens flares.
Oh my gosh.
But it's so beautiful.
And see, that's another great example. I feel like I keep comparing it to the old one because it's just a good way for me to
it's a good way to
relate
contextualize the movie.
But in the 60s one, when they're doing the dance, it's all very slow and controlled, and like it's like the single, you've seen that shot probably, it's a single spotlight on both of them, and they like slowly walk towards each other, like it's very,
whereas this movie,
very whimsical and like dumb,
whereas this
dreamy.
movie, like the dance is like insanely choreographed, and there's so much going on, and they like, I love the shot though when I forget, is that called a match cut, I think, when
something's in frame and
Tony's walking this way, people dance in front of the camera, and then it's Maria in the same spot walking.
Yeah, that would be a match cut.
Love that shot.
Tracking match cut. That's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Like the camera is like panning, and he's walking.
Yeah.
And then dancers dance in front, and then it's Maria also walking.
Yeah, no, it's oh my gosh. Like honestly, if you watch this movie for nothing, if not it's like outstanding camera work and blocking.
Dude.
Even if you don't like musicals.
Dude, the camera work is just outstanding.
I don't understand how, like I said, how do you even storyboard something like
the
this?
camera work and the blocking and like just like this movie blows my mind on how like this is why I can't see not giving it 5 stars, man. Everything about this is so insanely tight, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't feel that is insanely tight is I feel pretty, just because I feel like it's tonally out of place.
It feels a little tacked on.
With how intense and dramatic this movie gets, and how grimy it is to go from like... Because again, it's not like dance fighting when they fight.
Oh my gosh,
and like you get to the end fight and they're like beating each other up, punching people to bits.
Yeah.
And stabbing people. Spoilers for West Side Story, I guess. But again, old story. And like then you go to, I feel pretty.
Yeah, no, it feels a little dissonant.
And it's not even, it doesn't take away from the movie that much for me.
No, it doesn't.
It just, again, it feels a little dissonant when you're watching it. And like, cause it's a fun number.
It is, yeah. No, I actually really like the way they do that number in the new one.
And Rachel Zegler sounds amazing on it.
Right?
She has an outstanding voice.
Oh my gosh. I don't know where they found her.
Which I want to add. I know I talked about it on another episode.
Micah's gonna keep bringing this up until he's like 90 years old.
When we went to go see this in theaters, I tweeted about it and made a joke. And then when we came out, the tweet had kind of like gotten like a lot of likes, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Pretty cool.
I wonder why. And I looked at everybody who liked it, and she had liked the tweet while I was watching the movie, which again having now been following her, because I wasn't following her or anything at that time, having now been following her, it's nothing special. She is like extremely active.
You're
on
not
Twitter.
special, Micah. You're nothing.
And she likes like every tweet pertaining to like West Side Story that she likes, or like just stuff about like the cast and stuff like that, which again, go off. I think that's fun. But I just thought it was really fun to like come out of the movie and be like, the main actress just liked your tweet while you were watching the movie.
That's so weird, but it's very cool.
But she gives an outstanding performance. And dude, she was 17 when she auditioned for this.
How did it happen?
It's insane. I'm 17. I want to audition for a Spielberg movie.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like at the end of the day, with a lot of my West Side Story discussion, like a lot of the times when someone brings up this version of West Side Story, I just end up ranting and raving about like so many of its technical aspects and performances and stuff.
So technically
because it's just
amazing.
so like it's if you're like taking a film course or something, this movie is like the technical. Like it's a masterpiece in musical filmmaking. It's so good.
I think it's honestly only next to, and I haven't decided because quite frankly, La La Land is shot so well.
I was gonna bring up La La Land, actually.
That's the only thing I would even put next to it in terms of musical movies.
Exactly. Yeah.
The filmmaking level in both of those movies is outstanding.
I would put maybe, and you haven't seen this, I would put maybe Young Girls of Rochefort up there if you're going for an older example, because that is also like insanely dialed in, and even the camera work in that is amazing.
And even if I haven't seen that, and even if I didn't like Umbrellas of Cherbois, like you can tell he like as a director.
Jacques Demy is an amazing director.
He is. I mean, he's got a lot of talent for musical filmmaking. I just absolutely hated the music.
And see, I think you'll like Young Girls of Rochefort because it's a lot more laid back and fun.
Okay, I know it's not what we're talking about, and we're kind of been going off a little bit on this. But Umbrellas of Cherbois, however you say it, it's French. Every line is sung-talked.
Yeah,
there's not a single bit of singing.
If you're not aware of that movie.
And there's not a single bit of talking. It's all in between, and it's all annoying.
Oh my god.
They're like, have you heard the news about the barber? He's going to war. No, Mom, not war. Yes, war. And that's it. That's the whole musical. And they want me to get emotionally invested.
Maybe you should just shut up, Mike. Shut up about things you don't understand, Mike.
Sorry. I just need to get that out there. I need people to understand my hate for this movie.
But yeah, no, and the fact that I'm comparing it to one of my favorite movies of all time, actually two of my favorite movies of all time,
La La Land and Young Girls of Rochefort,
is really a testament to how much I really love this movie. Like, it's, oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah, do you have any other questions about it? Because I feel like we got to get questions to really dive into this, because everything else we're like, this is just so perfect.
Just so good. It's so perfect. I mean, I don't know. Did you have anything like in particular you wanted to bring up? I really like the two biggest things I wanted to mention were the camera work and like the way it incorporates its music and the cast, which I guess is really three things.
What do you think of the story structure for this movie? Because it is different. It is different from West Side Story. The
stage play.
The stage play.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think this one makes a lot of sense just as an emotional through line for a lot of the songs, a lot of the like story beats it shifts around. I don't really think you would notice it that much unless you're a diehard West Side Story fan.
Yeah, see, here's the thing about this that I was thinking about. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will adapt a Broadway musical and rearrange stuff.
Yeah.
Usually just cause, and usually just to like to incorporate, let's say, like an original song in hopes of like getting an Oscar nomination or something.
Oh my gosh,
that happens so much.
Yeah, no, I know.
But I feel like Spielberg is the kind of filmmaker to have only done this to make it more cohesive as a movie itself.
Yeah.
Which I really think what he did with the structure, especially the reworking of placing a lot of the songs, really helps it as a movie. Again, like Cool is in a completely different spot. Like,
Yeah, no, I was about to say a dramatically different spot, really.
Dramatically different.
That's the biggest one that I actually noticed that they moved. Because, like, when I Feel Pretty came up while we were watching it the first time, I'm like, wait a minute, doesn't this take place, like way earlier in the story? But, like, Cool, I immediately was like, whoa, what's this doing here?
Yeah, and it uses it for really a completely different purpose.
They
narratively.
they completely changed the purpose of the song, and I think it still works amazingly well in the movie.
Which is so impressive. And Cool is, again, probably my favorite or second favorite number done in the thing. It's an outstanding song, and I really like what it's doing in terms of getting its themes across for more of because I don't know, I haven't seen the old movie, but that sounds so weird to me where they put Cool after the fight.
Yeah, no, it's a completely different, if all you've heard is Cool in the context of this movie, that version sounds so weird, but it makes sense in the old one.
But I love what they do, because a lot of this movie is painting its characters, the Jets and the Sharks, as what they are, extremely desperate people who have nothing else and know nothing else.
Exactly.
And I feel like Cool is such a good song for getting into that mindset.
No, it is definitely. And it feels very similar to how the opening shot feels, the opening sequence feels in a lot of ways.
And even the scene before it where they're getting the gun is such a good scene. And really helps set that tone.
Exactly,
Because I feel like so much of this movie, it does a really good job of setting a very dramatic tone for just again, kind of almost to a fairy tale level of big sides and big things happening, big themes and emotions, even if this story itself is on a small scale.
Right, yeah. At the end of the day, it's just two groups of teenagers fighting in an alley. that's really all the movie is, but it feels so much bigger than that, and that's movies, I guess.
Yeah, which is interesting that the age of them too, because they're all 18 to mid-20s.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Which is kind of weird to me. It wouldn't make sense that they're in high school, but it's weird.
Right, yeah. Something I wanted to bring up, when you mentioned Cool earlier, I think this adaptation of the play really brings up and highlights how desolate all of the movie feels and how hopeless everything feels.
Yeah, I was about
to
say, I love there's the shot at the end of the movie. Again, spoilers for West Side Story. When Tony thinks Maria is dead, and he runs out of the place, and you have this really well lit Doc's drugstore, and then as he runs over to the alley and it pans over, that building next to it that looked like a full building is not. It's mostly torn down,
just a pile
and
of
light
rubble,
comes
really,
out, comes behind it, and you see, because again, seeping through the entire movie, and it only gets more as the movie goes on, is just the destruction and dust of everything that is being torn down.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thesis this movie starts with in its opening shot, so it makes sense.
And I mean, again, it plays to those kind of grand themes that the movie is going for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just thought that shot in particular is really cool when he runs out and goes over and the building pans over and you can see that it's torn down.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting, and I think it's so interesting that it highlights such a different side of West Side Story that you don't really see in the old one. Yeah. In the 60s one, you don't realize, obviously the cultural context is there. It plays a very big role in no matter how you adapt West Side Story. But the 2021 version really highlights that in a lot of really fun and interesting ways.
Dude, I love the way it treats Spanish and the new West Side Story. I really think that's cool.
Shout out more movies.
I wish more movies just had more foreign languages in them.
Right? Man.
And there's no subtitles or anything, so it's just it feels so nice.
Exactly. It's so refreshing to not have to you don't have to have subtitles. Spanish, a lot of people, a lot of people in America speak Spanish.
Right.
So I'm glad that they didn't feel the need, like most movies do, to translate everything.
Yeah. And again, it's the whole in Spider-Verse thing when they had Miles and his family and the people around him speak Spanish without any subtitles or anything. It just feels so much more intimate to the characters.
Exactly, yeah.
Than having like all of what they're saying be subtitled.
Yeah.
And it feels like it respects it so much more, which is again one of the reasons I'm not too thrilled about watching the 60s version, because they don't even have like actual not even specifically people from Dominican Republic, but like not even Latino,
not even people of color. Yeah, no, that's honestly, like I brought up the whole desolation thing and hopelessness. Honestly, the biggest aspect of the 60s one that I don't like is it doesn't highlight the racial stuff quite as much or quite as poignantly as any other version of West Side Story.
Yeah, because even the stage version, like that's what it's about,
right?
Is the racial stuff.
Yeah, yeah. But no, that is an interesting thing to bring up.
That was the whole pitch for the idea.
Exactly.
Is what if Romeo and Juliet, but racism in the 50s?
It's about racism in the 50s instead. But yeah, no, that's a very valid reason to not like the 60s one.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason I'm just like less interested in turning it on, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And I know it was a very common thing at that time,
it was
to
very,
not
very
have
common
different
practice,
ethnic groups
unfortunately,
in your movies, no matter who it was getting made by.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the world was a lot less international back then. But yeah, no, I mean, what were we talking about?
We were talking about racism.
Yes, I'm very qualified to talk about racism.
Obviously.
No, I don't know.
I was just
yeah.
I was saying I like or at least I was saying, I don't really remember what we were talking about, but I was saying I like specifically how this movie deals with a lot of making the racism in it feel very like prominent and very specific to a lot of the things of like to the themes of the story in terms of they didn't actually really have any reason to hate each other.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the movie highlights that again and again, that they're basically the same.
Yeah, I mean, it goes really out of its way to show you that they're almost exactly the same.
Right.
And I thought that was really neat. Like, just, I mean, not culture, obviously.
No, like not people. Culturally, they're not the same at all, really. But
as people and in their situations and why they're fighting, and that's what I find honestly so interesting about West Side Story, is it does a really good job of getting you into the mindset of why all of these people feel so strongly that they're in the streets essentially killing each other.
Yeah. No. Man, West Side Story, it's so good. the musical, the movie, take your pick. West Side Story, unmatched.
So yeah, no, I really liked that element of the movie, and
Micah's like, great movie,
fantastic.
Loved the movie, great. You gotta love the movie.
I mean, what's not to love about the movie?
But yeah, no, I feel like. Especially on Twitter, I saw a lot of this. Everyone who like has tried to make a movie like obsessively watched West Side Story, just because like we said, really that's the thing I love about it the most, outside of like just it being an adaptation of my favorite musical, is it's just an amazing work of filmmaking.
Yeah, honestly, I was really kind of worried
by
from
everyone
Spielberg,
involved. Yeah,
because I haven't really liked a lot of Spielberg movies recently.
Yeah, like the BFG came out the other a couple years ago.
I was trying to think of another recent Spielberg movie.
What has he worked on?
What's the
Spiel man been working on lately?
So like Ready Player One, BFG, even Lincoln, which I've only watched recently. People are a little too harsh
on Ready Player One.
No, I like Ready Player One, but like they're just not like... They're not my favorite, and they don't feel... Even Lincoln, which is really solid filmmaking-wise, didn't feel quite as, like, Spielberg tight, you know?
I suppose, yeah. Not up to the caliber of some of his older stuff.
And it's not like Spielberg makes perfect movies all the time. No. Like, he made The Lost World, and he made, like... The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
No, like I said, he's a great director. That doesn't mean all the other elements of a film are going to fall into place.
But like, there was something that I felt was just like getting so, I guess, like digital and dry to Spielberg's work to me.
I would
personally.
describe BFG as his driest film.
Even Ready Player One, there's something so dry about it,
Yeah.
even though I like the movie.
The camera work in Ready Player One is so good. But everything else...
But like this movie was like a shot in the arm, like just such a like every element is going so extremely hard in filmmaking. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a classic Spielberg movie in the making.
Oh man, I don't know what he's been doing these past few years, but he needs to do more of this if he wants to continue making.
Though he
movies.
did The Post in 2017, and I haven't seen that. And
shout out to Yossi for trying to get me and Micah to watch The Post.
Literally all the time.
No, I want to see all of Spielberg's work.
If The Post was streaming anywhere or sold anywhere, I haven't seen The Post ever anywhere.
I think I saw it in a Blu-ray bin, like at a dollar store one time. That's like the only time I've seen The Post.
Otherwise, I would have seen The Post by now. But it is nowhere.
Yeah. But yeah, Spielberg top of his game in this.
Yeah, no, and I was kind of like worried that maybe like he was just like not working, I guess, on as tight of productions, or just wasn't worried about a lot of the same things, and was just making, you know, movies that he wanted to make, which is fine.
More power to you, honestly.
But like
he earned it.
But like this movie like restored my faith in him like just making movies.
Yeah. Again, I know I keep bringing this up. Shout out to the cast. The
cast is so good. so good.
Just literally every performance in this is good.
Like literally the performances are so
I don't know
good.
how they did
If you don't believe me, just go watch the movie. It's on HBO and Disney Plus. Go watch it.
Exactly. No, like at the end of the day, really the big takeaway is go watch this movie because like I love the 60s one. This one probably is a bit better just on a filmmaking level. But it's a completely different vibe, but I think it works highlighting a different aspect of the show.
I don't know if it's still in theaters, but I would say go see this in theaters.
Oh my gosh, it was so nice seeing this on a big screen.
It's such a good movie to watch on a big screen.
And the surround sound, man.
Dude, the score in this alone, like the motifs used in the score, because this is a very light score.
No, it is.
And the motifs that they use, the drum, like the the drum and the whistling and the snapping, the way the snapping is used.
That's there a lot in the old one too. That's the thing I love about West Side Story is it uses its music to punctuate scenes a lot of the time.
Like there's like again during the fight, like when like after everything has happened, when the cops show up and like it does the little doo-doo-doo, and like everybody's like. And it does it again because like there's so many things even in the very opening of just stuff done in rhythm to its little motifs of punctuation in the music, and that's so sick. That's one of my favorite elements of just like background elements in this movie, and it does it to such great effect of not only doing it rhythmically but doing it emotionally and great sounding. And like the music punctuation is just insane. I don't think I've seen, again, maybe La La Land would be the only other thing I can think of that uses music to this level.
And that was made by a musician.
Whoa.
Can you believe it? But yeah, any final stuff you want to add, Micah, to the West Side Story discussion?
I don't have too much more to add. Yeah. Like, I'm sure there are more elements that we haven't talked about.
I mean, like you gave it a 10. I think you could probably talk about it for a lot longer.
Yeah, like I could talk about how I love almost every single element, from color to lens flare to actors to editing.
The lens choices.
We didn't say the editing, and I don't have too much to say about it. But the editing is so electric,
right?
Like I said, it kind of gets lost in how good the camera work is, but it doesn't get lost. It like blends together into like a seamless ball of you don't even notice you're watching a movie.
I will say, I think the 60s one is a visual masterpiece. I also think that title applies to this one too. It's just, you could mute this movie, and it's a musical. You can mute this movie, and it would still be fantastic.
No, I genuinely, like what I just said, I didn't think about it until now, but like the editing is so good, but yet you kind of, it's not that you lose it because it's not understated or anything, but it blends so well into every other element.
Exactly, yeah.
And is so fast-paced.
It feels so cohesive.
You don't even notice it, which I think is how editing theoretically should be, unless you're using it for something specific.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's a little blanket, Micah, a little oversimplification.
It's oversimplification of that, because editing can be used for a lot of things. But, like, in a movie like this, where it's not using editing to, like, build, like, for any specific thing, except for showing what the movie is offering. Yeah. The fact that it blends so perfectly into the camera movements.
It's so good. Like I said, how do you storyboard something like this? And I say it again.
And even thinking, like, there's so many things, like, it'll end a scene and then, like, almost immediately hard cut to the next scene. And that, like, and it just keeps that pace so well throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of that, I don't...
I didn't really have anything else to add either. So, I mean, we'll get into what we watched. Again, if you can, go watch West Side Story.
Dude, go watch West Side Story.
One of the best movies of the decade.
Outstanding.
So far.
It's genuinely probably one of, like, it's in contender to itch towards my top 4 favorite movies on Letterboxd.
Good. As it should be, Micah.
Like, it blows my mind.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get into what we watched this past week.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Here we are.
For those of you who do not know, the What We Watch segment is a short, sometimes long little segment at the end in which we talk about everything that we have watched since our last episode.
Which, in this case, was on the 6th. It released on the 7th, but we watched, like, the last thing we watched was on the 6th, I'm pretty sure.
I feel like we talked about... Did we talk about that?
Did we?
I do not know. I know. I'm pretty sure we talked about No Exit.
No. I just went back and listened to the episode, actually, a little bit ago, and the last thing we talked about was Kimmy.
Okay.
So
we're going from the 7th.
Going from the 7th onward, yes.
All right.
The first thing I watched, like, right after we finished the podcast, I had a few hours to myself, and I decided to turn on The Rescue, which is a documentary from 2021. Very, very good. I mean,
very, very good.
It's the same directors as Free Solo, which I very much love. Elizabeth Chai Vasar. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. And Jimmy Chin as well. If you watched Free Solo, you actually saw Jimmy Chin in the documentary.
I did see him.
But yeah. They make really good documentaries, apparently, because this one rocked, too. Kind of a startling technical achievement in how they went about, like, filming this, too, since a lot of it, like, most of it takes place in, like, underwater caves and stuff. Very cool documentary. Highly recommend. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Then after that, we watched the hit 2020 film, Wander.
That was a 2020 film? Oh, my gosh. I thought it came out in, like, 2011 or something.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
It was bad.
Yeah, no. It was in my watch list because I wanted to see all of Tommy Lee Jones's filmography, and I saw this.
So then, because it was in your watch list, our mom was like, "Oh, it's in Robbie's watch.
Oh, it's in Robbie's watch.
Watch it." Even though it looked bad.
No, yeah, it was not good. I hate to say it. There's some neat ideas here, especially in its filmmaking. I actually liked a lot of the things it was doing, but it's just like a really crappy screenplay.
Why is the radio show recording scene, like, filmed like they're on drugs?
It's got such a crappy screen.
Like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
I thought I was losing my mind. I was like, why are they making this decision?
No, I like a lot of the visual ideas and, like, general story ideas and themes that it touches on. It just does, like, a really terrible job doing all of that.
Yeah.
So I gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
Its screenplay kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And man, Aaron Eckhart, I love his performance in The Dark Knight. I really do.
He's really good in that, yeah.
But he sucks in that.
Yeah, no, I think it's just, I mean, really, a lot of the stuff that I have problems with when it comes to Wander is just bad direction and bad writing.
Yeah.
Like, I think that there's a good movie in there somewhere.
Yeah. Then I watched Knives Out on the 7th.
Knives Out?
I gave it a 5 out of 5. And I gave Wander a 2 if you missed that.
Who would have thought that you gave Knives Out?
That was for people who don't know, that was my 17th time logging it.
Wow.
So yeah, you could say I'm a Knives Out fan.
You could say I'm a Knives Out fan.
Then what did you watch?
On the 8th, I watched Black is King, which is basically a visual Beyonce album. And it was good. I liked it a lot. It suffers from a lot of the problems that the album has. If you've ever listened to The Lion King, The Gift, or whatever the album's called, it's just kind of misguided a lot of the time, I think. And it presents a problem and then presents what I think is kind of an incorrect solution to it. And just thematically in the stuff it touches on, it feels a little incomplete, but it does look amazing. So, I mean, I liked it a lot. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really fun, and I just really like the music in it.
Yeah.
And then I watched the Netflix interactive short film ? It really is more of a game at the end of the day, but Cat Burglar came out this year. The first of the interactive Netflix stuff I've tried, and it was interesting. It really is just a trivia game.
It's a game
that they decided to put on Netflix. So
yeah,
it's weird. I didn't rate it. I didn't rate it at all. I really want to try something like Bandersnatch, where it actually changes the narrative depending on what you do.
Yeah, where it's actually a narrative something, because most of them are actually narrative somethings, whereas this one is a game.
Yeah, this one's essentially just a game, but it was cool. I liked it.
Then on the 10th, we watched Teen Spirit.
Teen Spirit.
I don't know how I had heard of this initially, but it was
pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not too much to add to that. It's a pretty good movie.
It was fun. It was one of those kind of movies that's very like, it's exactly what you'd expect it to be.
Yeah, exactly. I said quote, fun cast, solid soundtrack, and nice visuals.
Yeah,
that's about it.
That's pretty good. I didn't like the ending that much, just in terms of how it was structured.
I thought it was cool.
I gave it 3 stars.
A novel movie. I gave it a 3.5. I thought it was pretty good.
Then also on the 10th, I watched Murder in 3 Acts.
Whoa.
Which was my first Peter Ustinov Perot movie.
Ooh.
Which I was very, very excited about.
Micah, no one knows what you're talking about.
Because I really love Peter Ustinov.
Yeah.
And he's really fun as Perot, but this movie it's just boring. Like it's not even poorly written or anything. It's just really boring.
It's like this movie is boring.
It's not doing anything aggressively bad, but it's not doing anything really that good other than its cast, because its cast is really fun, just like the entire cast.
Yeah.
Tony Curtis is in it.
Gotta love Tony Curtis.
Just like, yeah, it's just a really fun cast, but it's just it's boring.
Darn.
I give it 3 stars.
Well, there you go. And then
also on the 10th.
Oh yeah.
I watched Swan Song.
Swan Song.
And I was really, really excited about this.
Because you like swans?
I'm gonna try and pronounce his name. I know how to say it, but it's dyslexia. It's daunting.
Wow.
Mahershala, I think, or something like that. I forget how to pronounce it exactly. Mahershala. That's how it is. Yes. Oh my gosh.
I was about to say, that doesn't sound right at all.
I can't read. Mahershala Ali. Love him. He is outstanding.
He's a great actor.
And this was his first lead, and that's so cool. He does such a good job. It's really fun. It feels really creative. It's shot so beautifully. Like, this movie is gorgeous. Every shot of it is gorgeous.
Sounds like something I'd like.
And I just really like sci-fi that uses its concept in a way like this, so tight and small scale with its sci-fi concept, and keeps it all pretty much emotional.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. I gave it 4.5. And then also on the 10th...
Oh my god.
Listen, I didn't
Stop watching movies.
I didn't watch anything on the 8th or the 9th, but the 10th I was making up for it. I watched Death Lends a Hand,
nice.
Which is a loggable episode of Columbo.
Ayo. Gotta love Columbo.
It's one of the first episodes from the first season. And it was really good, actually. Not as good as the Spielberg directed one.
Obviously.
But there are some really neat creative decisions in it. There's this one point, and it's on the poster for it.
Yeah.
where like they have the murder play out in somebody's glasses,
In the
and
reflection of somebody's
in the
glasses.
reflection of somebody's glasses, and in one frame it's like one thing is happening, and in another frame another thing is happening.
Yeah.
Like at different times. So
Pretty neat.
it's like montaging the murder
Yeah.
and what he does after the murder in a really, really unique way.
Because Columbo is the best show ever made,
Because
apparently.
for some reason Columbo is really fantastic, and also Columbo's just a really fun character through and through. Peter Falk is like,
Shout out to Peter Falk.
shout out to Peter Falk. So yeah, really, really good and fun. I give it 4 stars.
And then on the 11th, we sat down and watched the new Pixar movie,
The new
Turning Red,
Pixar movie,
which
Turning Red.
unfortunately isn't out in theaters. Thanks, Disney.
Disney is so amazing. I love Disney.
Oh my gosh.
Disney is the greatest.
The fact that it's on streaming services only will hopefully mean that more people will see it.
Okay,
But
okay. But even with the Disney releases that they did streaming only, they at least like were given the prestige to cost more.
Right? Oh my gosh.
Like you had to pay.
How did
you had to
Raya-
pay $30 to watch Raya,
Raya
or
and the
to
Last
watch
Dragon.
the live action Mulan,
Oh my gosh.
which But you're telling me Soul,
Soul.
Luca, and Turning Red all don't get theater
They're not-
releases
they're not good enough.
and just get slapped up there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that aside, Turning Red, very good.
I can't believe Turning Red gets so much hate from
Right?
a lot of people who haven't seen it,
Right?
and a lot of people who are just like, I didn't personally connect with the story. I don't know how.
I mean, I could see not connecting to the story for sure, but like, that's not like
I could see not connecting if you were like 40.
yeah, like I don't know. Like for me, I really connected to the story. I liked it a lot. I loved the characters. I loved the world it made. I loved the general tone of it. It's just great. I loved it a lot.
Like I've said this a couple times. I
Yeah.
genuinely think it is one of the most visually creative and fun Pixar movies ever.
Oh,
Like,
I,
ever.
definitely. I wouldn't say one of. I would say the most visually like interesting and creative
like you
Pixar
said,
movie.
in terms of just being funny through and through,
so
the only
funny.
thing this compares to Pixar wise is Monsters Inc.
I love it so much.
Because that's like the second funniest, if not the funniest, Pixar movie for
Right.
some reason.
Dude, well, Monsters Inc. its entire thesis is kind of just being a buddy comedy, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
But like this movie is so much fun, and it feels so modern, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, exactly. Usually when Micah says this movie feels like so modern, it's usually as a like not a compliment.
Because usually I feel movies pull off modernism really poorly.
Yeah, but I mean, this is set in 2002.
I can't believe this is set 20 years ago.
in the year
What
of
the
our
heck-
Lord 2002.
What the heck is happening in the fact that this is set 20 years ago? You say 2002, I do not think 20 years ago.
Right? No, it's so wild because like I had no idea like what Turning Red was about really when we turned it on. I hadn't watched any of the trailers or anything like
About
that.
Canadian pandas.
It's about Canadian middle schoolers
who want to go to a concert.
who want to go to a concert.
and it's a metaphor for puberty.
Exactly, yeah. So, and then I saw that it was like the opening sequence happened, and then it slapped up the photo album cover, and it said 2002. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my birth year. This is set in my birth year. What is happening right now?
It's very weird.
It's so weird.
Man, I love this movie. There are so many like scenes and stuff in it specifically that I really love.
It's so
the
much
facial
fun.
expressions and the animation.
It's just a fun movie. I don't know how people don't like it. It's so much fun.
like, dude, the scene with the whole like don't look down, and then she looks down, like the facial expression there and the no, like the delivery of the no is so hilarious to me.
It's just so funny. It's such a fun and like wholesome movie. I don't know how they made it so wholesome.
And yet people are like, oh, this is inappropriate. I can't believe this is about 13-year-olds. How dare you?
How dare you make a movie about a person
Which is
who
ridiculous.
is 13?
Again, Houston Online made a tweet, I think, if
Houston
I'm not
Coley,
mistaken,
a good friend of the podcast.
about like for some reason like people are calling this inappropriate, even though like take like other Pixar movies can be kind of like violent and stuff.
God. Toy Story 3 is a very scary movie.
Or scary, like in The Incredibles. There's a lot of death
Toy
in
Story,
The Incredibles.
The Incredibles is crazy, man.
And it's a super mature story, The Incredibles.
Yeah.
But people are saying that this, like that instead of violence and war and all stuff like that, what's inappropriate is bodily functions and puberty and hormones.
Whoopsie doopsie. You shouldn't have made a movie about teenagers, I guess. Yeah, no, I think Turning Red is a very intimate and beautiful and funny movie, and it's one of my favorite Pixar films now. I love it a lot.
I gave it 4.5 stars.
Yeah, so did I. I thought it was great.
Then on the 11th, I watched Prometheus. For the first time. I was really excited for it. I really like Ridley Scott,
baby.
And this movie just looked very up my alley in terms of sci-fi.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'll talk about it more in a second.
Yeah,
but I gave it 4 stars on a first watch.
There you go. I finally finished Nathan For You, for those who are keeping up with my television watching habits. I finally got through all of Nathan For You, and it's a fantastic show. And its finale, Finding Frances, is loggable on Letterboxd, so I logged that.
I really want to watch it.
Finding Frances is so good. Are you saying like the show? Or?
No, Finding Frances.
Yeah.
I've watched quite a bit of Nathan
Finding
For You.
Frances is like not a completely different animal from Nathan For You. Like, he's not doing what he usually does in the show. It's more like one of like his special episodes kind of thing, where he's just doing like one thing. But it's a surprisingly like beautiful portrait of humanity.
No, I've heard like
I don't understand.
I've heard people say that it's like, I mean, it's got a really high average.
What is
I've
up
heard
with
people
that?
say like it's really emotional, really well done.
Micah, I was crying at a Comedy Central documentary about Nathan Fielder.
He graduated from one of the top business
one of
schools
Canada's top business schools
with really
good grades. Yeah, no, Nathan For You, Finding Frances.
Maybe that's why Turning Red is good, Robbie. It takes place in the country
In
of
Canada.
our hero, Nathan Fielder.
Yeah, no, even if you're not like that into Nathan For You, I would suggest watching Finding Frances. It's very, very good.
And then on the 12th, I watched Bong Joon-ho's Okja, which I was very excited about.
Nice.
Shout out to Bong Joon-ho. Gotta love the guy.
Shout out to Bong Joon-ho. He's really hurting for the attention. Micah.
Gotta be one of my favorite directors for real.
Good thing big podcasts like Recently Logged can shout out a director
I
that.
really can't wait to watch Memories of Murder and Snowpiercer. Right? It's interesting because out of the movies I've watched, because Memories of Murder and Snowpiercer are like his 2 most intense movies.
Right.
Even Parasite, for as dramatic as it is goofy.
Yeah,
but The Host is pretty darn goofy, and this is like really goofy, like satire levels of goofy.
I am so looking forward to Okja, man. It looks like so much fun.
Everything about it is so wild, and I like all I've wanted to do since I watched it is watch it again. The cast is like outstanding. Like, I absolutely love like pretty much everybody who was cast in this movie. What the heck is going on with that? It's not perfect. I think its biggest problems are screenplay and structure, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't fully like feel as tight as it should be, especially.
Did Bong Joon-ho write this one? Probably, right?
I'm not sure.
He usually writes
his stuff.
Yeah.
Allow me to check.
Written and directed by?
Yeah, he wrote it.
Yeah,
with,
I figured.
John Ronson.
Writer of Frank.
But yeah, it's not quite as tight as a lot of his, and like I said, it doesn't have the sharpness filmmaking wise of something like Parasite.
That's a too high of a bar.
Or the elegance even of something like The Host.
Yeah.
So it's a very odd movie, but it's really fun.
I just want to see Paul Dano.
Yeah, dude, Paul Dano in it is so good.
The fact that there is a Paul Dano Bong Joon-ho movie out there and I haven't watched it yet is a little upsetting.
Dude, Paul Dano, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Steven Yeun are in this movie.
Oh my gosh. Talk about a stacked cast.
Oh, and Devin Bostic's randomly a side character in it. Like, the cast is insane. It's
pretty good.
I gave it 4 stars. I might up that though, because like I've just been like I've done nothing but think about it since I've watched it.
You're gonna pull a Kimmy, Micah. I was like, oh, Kimmy's not that good, and then I thought about it nonstop for like the next month. But yeah, on the 13th.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, what is that?
This is the TED Talk.
But yeah, we watched Prometheus again, but we
Yes.
watched the Peter Whalen
I
files
watched it this time.
in front of it.
Yeah, Peter Whalen Files.
Which is a really cool intro to the
I
film.
wish it was part of the final cut. It would have been so cool.
It's a little out there for mainstream audiences, Robbie. This
Some
movie,
people might have walked out of the theater.
This movie
but...
is like marketed to like dads who watched Alien.
Yeah, no, it is. But like, it would have made such a cool thematic opener for the movie.
No, it really would. But I liked this movie a lot more on a rewatch in general. I think the Peter Whalen files helped.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But like on a rewatch in general, its themes come through a lot stronger and clearer, in my opinion. And I really, really like what the movie is doing. I love the kind of grand, slick feeling it has. I love its use of horror.
My goodness, yeah.
Its cast is outstanding.
It's so good. Why don't people like Prometheus? I
mean, it's got a 3.2 average.
No, it does. But like a lot of the people I follow, like it seems like if you don't like Prometheus, you like hate it. Like you're like, this is what's wrong with modern sci-fi. I'm like, come on.
No, almost
What's
everybody
up
I
with that?
follow are just like, three
Kind of
and a half,
meh, yeah.
2.5.
Yeah, see, like, most of the people I follow who don't like Prometheus are like, this is the bane of modern sci-fi.
That's
This is
so
what's,
weird.
like, they wrote like half of a good sci-fi movie and forgot to finish it kind of thing. I'm like, come on, guys.
The ending.
I love it
The
so
ending
much.
feels like that on purpose. It plays into its themes.
Okay, this is my favorite Ridley Scott movie as of right now. And
You have not seen 90% of his.
I would
big
gladly
critically-
watch Prometheus
You haven't.
again.
You haven't. Yeah, I was about to say though. Take that with a grain of salt. He hasn't seen Blade Runner, Alien, Gladiator.
The only other Ridley Scott movie I've seen is like The Martian, and I think I've seen his Robin Hood too. But other than that,
You haven't seen his Robin.
have I not?
It's really, really long with.
Oh no, it's the Russell Crowe
with
one.
Russell Crowe and Kate Blanchett.
Oh, Kate Blanchett.
You've literally only seen. The Martian.
Okay, so all I've seen of his is The Martian, and I like this better than The Martian. I gave it a 4.5.
Yeah, I gave it a 4.5 on this watch.
Yeah.
And then I watched West Side Story.
Whoa, if you can even believe it. And while Micah was watching West Side Story, I watched a couple more movies. I'll try and speed through them. I watched a Don Cheadle-led thriller. Shout out to Don Cheadle. He's pretty great. It's called Traitor. It's pretty good. I don't know.
See, Dad in the car said you guys watched something with the cast member who played the Falcon, so I thought it was Anthony Mackie.
What is it? He always gets Anthony Mackie and Don Cheadle mixed up, and I don't know why. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, they're both black Marvel actors, but like they don't look anything alike.
They don't look alike. They don't sound alike.
Yeah, they don't sound anything alike. They're like completely different
Their
beings.
personalities aren't
Exactly,
I
yeah.
don't know.
It's weird. I don't know. But yeah, Don Cheadle, he's great in this. It feels a little lackluster, so it's kind of hard to get into, but I admire what it's going for. Good stuff. I gave it a 3.5.
Then I watched Black Cat.
Then I watched my first Michael Mann movie.
Mann.
Michael Mann. He really is the man, Micah.
He's Michael the Man.
He is Michael the man, the myth.
the legend.
Yeah, Black Hat, a lot of fun. Really surprisingly, like, thematically rich. I don't know what I expected from... I had never seen a Michael Mann movie before.
Well, I don't know what I expect.
Chris Hemsworth is pretty good in this. Actually, the entire cast is pretty good in this. It's got a fun direction, great screenplay, kinetic action, like some great action, like some of the best action I've seen in a movie, honestly. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Black Hat, good stuff. I gave it a 4.5, and then after that, to round off my Sunday, I watched For Heaven's Sake, which is
For heaven's sake.
Harold Lloyd movie from back in the 20s.
Harold Lloyd.
I love Harold Lloyd. Shout out to Harold Lloyd.
What was he doing? Climbing a tower or something?
No, that's a different. Safety Last also features Harold Lloyd and prominently features a cup of coffee for some reason. So there's some similarities. But yeah, for heaven's sake, it was fun. The gags get a little stale in the latter half, since the entire last half of the movie is just him running around trying to corral a bunch of drunk guys. And that goes on for 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, move it along. Come on, buddy. But the beginning stuff is amazing. It's a lot of fun. I gave it a 4 out of 5. And that was what I watched. That leads us to present day.
That's
Micah.
amazing. That's so cool. Who knows what we'll watch today?
Whoa.
Or tomorrow.
Life is
or the
full
day
of
after.
possibilities.
We could watch anything. We could watch nothing. It's really amazing what opportunities lie before us.
Wow. But yeah, that's what we watched. Go watch Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. Go watch the old West Side Story too.
Go watch
Turning Red.
Go watch Swan Song.
Yeah.
And Okja
and Prometheus,
if you're old enough to watch any of those, because I just realized all of us are.
That's why I said Turning Red, Micah.
But yes, go watch Turning Red and go watch Columbo.
Columbo, great show.
Great show.
Jolly good show. But anyway, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Adios.
Bye.